It's great, you know, like people talk to you like, oh, you're so lucky, but what are the main struggles? Because these kids, they need to know.
The main struggle in Austria is that Austria is just known for a ski country, so it's pretty hard for summer sports, and sailing actually is quite popular in Austria, but the thing is it's not so much money into sailing, so it's pretty hard to start when you're young. But you get a lot of support from the federation, from the government, and later on the sponsors. And yeah, you try hard, and then you have to get over it. I mean, it's pretty hard decision to make when you're young, what you're doing in the future. And if you're coming from Austria and you say, okay, I'm going to be a sailor, that's a little bit strange, but we did it, and we worked for it quite hard, and it was successful in the end.
Yeah. So the sport, for example, in Austria, how is the elite sports funding system works in the real world? You know, in Austria, how does it work, funding-wise?
Yeah, normally you start in the club. So club sailing is the beginning, and then when you are in a certain level, you become member of the Austrian Sailing Federation. Then you try to start in Olympic classes.
Right.
And then that's normally the highest level you can get. So you get all the support then from the federation, from the governments, and you can go to the army. There's a special sports company in the army, and that's where you get the support from.
Right. So at the beginning, it's mum and dad that helps you, right? And then when you get good.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're getting good, then it's a little bit easier, but it's still not a lot of money into it.
Yeah. And Chris? In England, how does it work? Going, you know, from when you're a beginner like these guys, you know, how does it work? Do you have funding coming your way, or how does it work?
Yeah, we're pretty lucky in England. We've got a very good structure. We get money for the sport from the National Lottery, which makes a big difference because lots of people like to take the opportunity to try and win a few millions. So the lottery has funded British sailing for a little while at Olympic level and youth level and development level, like these guys, Sailing Optimists. And then, so that gives you a great opportunity to train and race full time, which is what it takes to go Olympic sailing these days. And then the steps continue from there with whether you achieve success at your Olympic level or and so on. I think one of the biggest things is when you get to Olympic level, there's so many of your generation. You're not just racing against your 13, 14, 15-year-olds. You've got people from a huge number of generations that are all very, very talented. So it becomes a lot more about how hard you work rather than how talented you are.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. But as you said, England is very fortunate. Is one of the very, very few countries where the lottery, the national lottery, has been backing you for what, 10 years or more?
Yeah, it has been for a long time, and and there's a number of British sailors that have really benefited from it, but there's now many nations in a very similar situation, so I think actually England's one of the lesser funded countries these days on Olympic level, but it has made a huge difference, and as I understand it, I've got a good friend here who works for Singapore Sailing, and as I understand it, they have an excellent structure here in Singapore, and certainly I remember going to Optimus World's coaching not that long ago, and there's some blooming good sailors there.
Yeah, and in New Zealand, Dean, how does it work? Like, is the federation? I mean, it's a small federation, surely, in New Zealand. So how does it work?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of countries have taken a look at the way the British have been structured over the last few Olympics, because there's no question that the UK team has won more sailing medals than any other country. So obviously the way the structure works is a very good model. It's hard to fund all the athletes, and so in New Zealand it's very much an elitist funding structure. And you perform well at World Championship or Olympic qualifying type events, and you qualify for funding, which will help to offset the cost of doing the campaign.
Yeah, so basically it's the same in Australia as well. Like a lot of countries, they really put a like some sort of benchmark where you've got to be up there in order to get funding, but it costs a lot of money to get there. And
I think it's just trying to show the commitment to actually achieving a result and the ability to hopefully go on and win an Olympic medal. Normally it's sort of, if you qualify for the top 10, I think you qualify for funding, but to actually get really good funding, it's normally top 3 at the World Championships.
Oh, okay, yeah, so top 3. So it's all about medals. Gold, silver, bronze, it's all about medals. Same with the Olympics, huh? So there you go. Now, can you actually make a living out of professional sailing, the 3 of you? Dean?
Yeah, well, providing you...
generally speaking, you, and generally speaking as well, you know?
Well, yeah, you can. It's you're only as good as your last race. You've got to keep performing, and if you perform well, then hopefully you can find some sailing to carry on with. And it's if you'd said 2 years ago would we be still working in a professional sailing environment, sailing multi-hulls, I would have said absolutely no chance. But the direction of the America's Cup, it's pushed a lot of teams and professional sport more into the multi-hull arena. The Extreme Sailing Series is a fantastic training ground for a lot of people that are trying to go on and be involved in the America's Cup. And I think it's sort of driving the professional aspect of this even more, more so than ever. So it's good to see this. But again, there's so many different things. You could be professional sailor sailing around the world. Start in a couple of days from Cape Town. You can be doing this, which is a little bit nicer. You can have a shower and bed at night.
Go back to the hotel at night.
Yeah, and then there's a multitude of other classes that you can go and race around the world.
Yeah, yeah. And Chris, so living professionally out of sailing, how hard it is?
There's a bit of uncertainty, like Dean said, you're only as good as your last race, and with the economy how it is, you never really know what's going to happen with anywhere at the moment. But it's a fantastic thing to be able to do, and that's why we all put it on the line to do it. We get to do what we love doing for a living, and there's not necessarily that many people in the world that get to say that is the case. And feel very lucky.
You do feel privileged.
Situation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle more than a money-making thing, huh?
Yes, it is a lifestyle, but at the same time we all do it because we want to be as good as possible.
Absolutely.
We're not doing it just for a laugh, we're doing it because we all like to try and go out and be a little bit better each day, and that's what it's all about, but at the same time we're very lucky.
Yeah, yeah. Roman? Professional sailing, how hard it is? Is it to make a living?